I have a treat today. That's right, it's a Zenith. Well, you guessed it from the title because you clicked on the video or you're searching for it. Because I highly doubt that you're actually a fan of me, because I don't have a lot of fans because I'm still new. Anyways, it is a Zenith laptop data system. It is a Z-425 and it runs Windows 3.1. It is from 1992, and most common Zeniths that people think of are the ones from 1990 or 1980s, which run an 8088 processor in it and have either one hard drive on one side and a floppy disk on the other side, or dual floppy disk drives, and they're a lot bigger. As you can see from this is much smaller. In fact, I'll have a little bit something as a reference. There's my pocket computer from my first video. Need more of a reference? Here's the handheld computer from the last video. And the last reference, my cell phone, which is a Motorola backflip, so you can look up the dimensions of that. This thing is tiny for being something from 1992, 1993. Let me get these off here. It is an early example of a not a tablet, of a let me get that out of the frame here, of a netbook. This is one of the earliest netbooks out there, and it's also one of the earliest laptops to have the ability to actually run Windows. It has 20 megabytes of RAM. I believe it has 4 megabytes of actual internal RAM, and then it has an additional 16 megabyte card in it, which gives it 20 megs altogether. It has a 125 megabyte hard drive and runs at a whopping 22, 25 megahertz. It runs a 486 SL processor, and it has a little trackball mouse. And this is actually removable. This whole thing down here is movable, so it's just, you know, you can use it as a DOS computer. Here is its CD drive, or not CD drive, I'm sorry, floppy disk drive. And this is its power supply. This detaches and has a cable that can go from here directly to the computer, so you don't have to use the floppy drive. The floppy drive has to be connected when you turn the power on for the computer to recognize it. If you unplug it while the power's on, you can damage both devices. So it is not advised to unplug either of them when it's turned on and plug them in when either of them is turned on. Well, when this is turned on. This, of course, needs power from this. And it all gets the power from one connection here. Now there are a couple of this is a really nice computer for its time. There are some downsides, and I will show you them. The biggest downside side to it is, I don't know if you can see this here, I will zoom in on it a little bit later when I show the screen when it's running. This joint here is very weak. There's no support on it, and it breaks very easily. In fact, this one had to be repaired. I got this from free, by the way, from a ham friend in town. I asked for, you know, old computers and stuff, and he gave me one of these, and as well as another computer much older than it, which I will show in my next video. But yeah, this had to be repaired by another ham friend of mine, Jim. Galen gave it to me, and my friend Jim fixed it for me, at least here, so that I can, you know, use it, because it is a nice computer. It has a little bit of battery power in it because someone restored the cells in it. They replaced the cells in the pack. There is another downside to it, besides the fact that you can't just quickly take this off, and that's its expansion card slots on the bottom. Most of the time they're flush with the computer. This is sticking out, or this goes into it down here, which means this is in the way. And now I'm going to give you a second to think about it. What could the problem be with this? There you go. You can't plug anything in. I mean, this obviously didn't come with the computer, or with the computer for sale. I mean, look at it. You can't even see the top of it. So, yeah, it's just not a very good design there. Had to do a small jump cut there, so I don't remember how long this video is going to take. So here's a pretty good look of the computer itself. The two design flaws on it. This breaks easily and had to be fixed by my friend. This is horrible design because you just can't plug anything into it unless it's, you know, an external. I actually have one I can plug in here for Ethernet. There's no point. This is removable. This is very interesting that it's removable. Let me just see if I can get this off real quick. I'll show you all. There. There's the mouse, and there's the computer. But of course, it's kind of hard to use a Windows computer without a mouse. That's kind of the whole point of Windows. To copy Mac OS as much as possible, which, you know, in short, is copying Xerox as much as possible. Here is the floppy disk drive. It's just a standard 1.4 megabyte floppy disk drive. There's a button here to allow you to remove it, so I can have this plugged in as just a floppy drive, or I can get the cable that comes with this to go from here to the computer so I can have power to it without having to have the floppy drive connected. Not sure why you would do that. I guess if you just wanted to recharge it and had no use to have media. So let me put that back in. I don't need this to turn on the computer, but I'm going to have it anyways. Click. There's its proprietary connectors. Those two big pins are power, and the rest are just data. It's almost like USB, except it's not hot swappable. There we go. The Zenith laptop in all of its glory. Pull it in the frame better. There we go. I have a very long one of these. It's like 12 feet long. It came with an old video projector I got. I will do a review on that one day too. Anyways, let's turn it on. Click. Beep. It makes sounds. Here's another interesting thing about this. This computer takes a very long time to turn on. It's on and it's starting up. The BIOS just takes a very long time. All of your system information is displayed here, unlike with Windows nowadays where it's all displayed in the taskbar down here. This is all displayed on its own separate LCD screen. So to reduce the issue of having to have software that has to communicate with the BIOS and slow down the computer, that would just be a pain. And there's CB, Windows, and that's running. So I'm going to do a jump cut real quick, and I'm going to go zoom in on the screen so you can see a little bit better. Much better. It's zoomed in, and now I can show you a couple of other features. We have our brightness control. I'll actually turn it down because it looks a little bit better. And our contrast, which I will set back to the way I had it before because it kind of messed up the camera a little tiny bit. Hopefully this turns out okay. Let me adjust the pitch here. Okay, that'll work. Now this one, for some reason the way it is, it doesn't start Windows right away. Unlike the other laptops I have that run 3.1. You actually have to type in Win. And there it goes. Microsoft Windows 3.1, Zenith Data Systems compatible. And I'll show you some additional things I have to go with this thing that also came in the bag. It pops up this so you can control the PCM CIA cards right away, which is pretty, interesting. It's in the card software here. Come on, work. There we go. It's a little hard to see it on the camera. That's why I'm not using the camera to view it. The camera shouldn't be moving at all. And I have a... Oh, sorry for that language. I will try to censor that out. Of course, Chips Challenge, have to have. It's a great retro game. We also have Peg, that's a good game. Dangerous Dave 2, that's a pretty good game. I know I have Crystal Caves somewhere around here. Crystal Caves right there. I'm just blind. Blockbreaker, that's good. Of course, Pipes is good. Solitaire is good. Moonlander, great. Touchtomb, my favorite solitaire-based game. Ski Free, Hyperoids, which is just asteroids. Free Cell, all the games. And of course, I have, I'm a retro collector. I have old technology everywhere. So you probably wondered, down here Office, I have Word installed, and it actually works pretty well. This version of Word is actually designed for 3.1. I don't think it's compatible with 2.0, but I know it's compatible with 3.0 and 95. And there we go, Microsoft Word. So it's, an actual usable computer. And when I mean actually use a computer, I mean you can actually use this thing today. You can use it as a word processor when you're in school, and I intend to do it. I might make a video about it where I'm actually using it in my college. Everyone has their, modern day laptops like the one I have next to me that you can't see. And I will be sitting here with this little tiny thing. I might have to restore the battery to make it work properly. Down here it says, Z-Lite Z-425L. I like to jump back and forth between my sentences and stuff as I remember facts. This is completely unscripted. I'm doing this pretty much in one take. So yeah, type it a little bit. We got some words. It's, Microsoft Word. There's not much you can say about it. I'd like to get OpenOffice on it, but I don't think there's a version of OpenOffice that'll work for Windows 3.1. And that's pretty much all there is to this version, this little Zenith laptop. I will make another jump and start showing you some accessories, just some interesting things that came with this. And remember, I got all this for free from a ham friend, so it's good to have connections. And ham radio is fun too. I did make a jump, but that's because I stopped the camera before I remembered there was one important thing I wanted to tell you all. This thing has a live BIOS. And what I mean by live BIOS, it's a word I came up with. And I don't mean, you can change the BIOS. Alright, to change the BIOS, it's very simple. Function key. Heck, where's that button at? Okay, there we go. Function key, F5 for setup. And now I can control BIOS settings while the computer's running without having to restart or anything. And then, escape to change, or the exit. Ignores changes and exit. And we're back at Windows. Didn't have to restart the computer, didn't have to turn it off, didn't have to wait for Windows to reboot. I didn't change anything though, so either way. And to turn it off, you can't accidentally turn it off. You hit the power button and it verifies. Do you want to turn it off? Escape for cancel and enter for power. I'm just going to hit enter. And let this thing focus. And there we go. It's the Zenith. And now I'll do the jump to show you the extra things I got. And here we go. Extra things. The bag filled with goodies. So not only do I have the computer, I also have all the software for it. DOS 2.2, or DOS, no, this is DOS 6. This is DOS 6.0. 6.0, 6.0. There's 2.2 on it. He must have reinstalled. And then you got the Zenith version of Windows 3.1. I really am thinking about copying these onto a computer so that the back them up and put them online for people to download, for people who want to restore this machine or any other Zenith laptop that runs 3.1, because I'm pretty sure they're pretty compatible. Then we have more, and then we have the mouse drivers, the Zenith Online for Microsoft Windows. I don't know what that is. I'll have to look at that. You get the SVGA drivers. You get the PCI-MCI chipset cards. It's all back together. And this was, this is the part that I really like the most, is it came with all the software. It's so hard to find software for the older computers. I have one that's a perfect example. It came from the same guy, but he got it from someone else, so that's why it doesn't have all the software. We have all the manuals. I have the file link transfer, so we had to link them together using a special cable that it came with. I don't have the cable, unfortunately. Well, it didn't come with it. It came with something. Warranty information, license certificate, and disk operating information. Here's my certificate number. This is registration information that was never filled out. Some more information. This was printed off the internet. zdparts.com. And then of course the mouse driver manual, the video driver manual, the Zenith version of Windows, or the Zenith marketed version of Windows, the manual for that, and then of course the manual for the device, for the computer itself. That's pretty cool. There's some other stuff in here. What else is in here? I know I have some other. I have a second drive. I need to fix this. It's broken. unrepaired. So I gotta remember to fix this. That way I can have 2 floppy disk drives in case one dies. And it's completely unresponsive. And here's that cable I was talking about before. This goes into the power supply. This goes into the computer, so you can go directly from the power supply to the computer without having to have the floppy disk drive. And that pretty much sums up this computer. It's a really nice computer. I really enjoy having it, and I really enjoy being able to use it when I can to play some old DOS games that don't require a lot of motion. All those games require a lot of motion. Yeah, it's a pretty good computer. I'm glad I'd like to say thanks to my friend Jim and my friend Galen for giving me this and for fixing it. I really appreciate it a lot. So anyways, this is the Retro Game Fox for now, and I'll see you all later in my next video.